Hey, it's Jared from goHUNT. Got some special guests here in the goHUNT office. We got sheep feet guys. So we're gonna have him explain everything about sheep feet and how you can get some custom insoles for your boots. This is Caleb.
What's up, guys? Okay, so first I'll kind of just go over the basics on a lot of the big problem is people don't know the difference between like an insole or a custom orthotic. An orthotic, really simply, is a corrective device. If you have the foundation of a house and it's off, it can cause problems that go all the way up through the house. Cracks through the walls, through the roof, whatever it is. So our feet are super, super complex in our body. I mean, they have over 26 bones, over 100 muscles and ligaments in them. So our bodies are the same way as that house. It has a kinetic chain. So our ankles, if we roll in or we roll out, that's our foundation. It can kind of throw things off all the way up along it through our knees, hips, back, and neck. So a lot of people, you'll be out hunting and you'll experience like small pains. I mean, you have a heavy pack, lower back pains, and a lot of these things can be simply addressed by a custom orthotic because it keeps that alignment done. So we offer a couple different orthotics. You have the Met-length orthotic, and then we have the full-length orthotics. And full-length orthotics, I would say, are like the number one, the best thing for hunting because the cushion, and they go all the way onto the end of the toes. Our orthotics are super, super rigid, but because we're able to do that is because it's completely custom to your foot. So when you order, you send out an impression kit, and you guys send it out to them. They take an impression of their foot and they mail it back to us. When we get that impression, we take it and we pour it with plaster. And once the foot is hard, we're able to pull it out of that foam, and then we have a replica of your foot. So once we have that replica, then we're able to evaluate it. We have our evaluators, and they look at it and they'll set it down on the table, and they'll be able to see which way that person's foot will tip or lean. So they'll take that foot and then they'll take it and they'll do the plaster work. So you can see where the white is, that's where the original foot is, and then everything that's pink is the corrective plaster work that's done. So that when they're done correcting it, they can set it on the table, and that heel, you can look at it right here, it's just sitting flat.
Okay.
So it's perfectly aligned and corrected. So when we make the sheep feet for them, when they have their custom orthotic, it's made specifically to their foot, but not only that, it's keeping their foot in that correct position so that they have the correct alignment. So when you're out hunting, when you're out doing whatever, even daily use, using it for work, guys use construction or just office jobs, the more you can be correctly aligned, the better. And it can help prevent injuries from happening on the mountain. I mean, you draw a once-in-a-lifetime tag and a hunt got ruined, that would definitely suck.
Yeah.
So custom orthotics are a lot different than just a standard insole. And a lot of people will see that reflected in the price, but you get what you pay for. If you want your boots to be 100% custom, then a custom orthotic is a great way to do it because in a few years, once you wear through that boot, you're able to just slip your pair of sheep feet right out and slip them right into the new pair of boots, and that new pair of boots is completely custom to you. Some of the questions that people have with them is things that we offer. So we offer single cushion, double cushion, and a heel stabilizer. So our Xtreme Curl Cushion, we call it the XC cushion. It's different than just a standard, they're called EVA cushions on the market. It's open cell, so it absorbs 90% more impact than other cushions on the market. So really they're built with the most durable materials, handmade here in the USA. And this cushion really is, when it comes to absorbing shock and just helping for that extra measure of protection, it's awesome. So a lot of people have questions whether they need the single or the double cushion. I always think, I like to say it like, double cushion is better, but it doesn't mean the best for you and how you fit your boots. Finding a boot that fits you is a hard thing to do, but people that fit their boots really true to size and a little bit tighter, we recommend that they go with the single cushion or no cushion. That's just because when that's made, it is about, I think total, it's 1/8 of an inch thick. Okay. And double cushion are for people that fit their boots a little half size big, and they have a lot of room in the toe box. Gotcha. So thinking double cushion means more comfy. It's not always the case. So that's the XC cushions, and then heel stabilizers are awesome. I don't think I would ever have a pair of orthotics without them. So what they do is they keep the orthotic from pivoting side to side. So if I push on this side, it holds that foot in the correct position. So it keeps it and it eliminates any side to side movement. So one of the most common problems I think people have with their feet is called pronation. And that's where when you walk, you roll inward, your arches collapse. Or some people that have really high arches, it's called supination. It's where you roll outwards. And that can just throw that whole chain off in your body, out of alignment. So the heel stabilizers are always killer, and especially when you're if you hunt in really steep or uneven terrain, they're one of the best things you can have, just because if you're side hilling, it gives your heel and your foot something more to lock into and assist your boot into being able to keep you from rolling your ankle, or if you're going over rocks or jumping over deadfall. You're not just allowing the boot, because boots are incredible, but our boots, it takes a whole combination. You need good boots, you need good socks, and a custom orthotic just gives you the whole package with boots. So heel stabilizers, it's made out of a high dense foam and then a plastic bottom cover is what we call it. So the foam allows for, it gives you a teeny bit of flex. So if you are on that steep terrain or you come off a deadfall or something, it gives you a little bit of that forgiveness. So it's not all on something hard. It helps to absorb some of that impact as well back in the rear foot. And then the Dura plastic bottom cover that we put on it, it just protects from wearing in your boot and helps to also grip and eliminate a lot of heel sliding or forefoot sliding that some people will have in their boots that can cause blisters or different things like that. So it just helps to lock your foot right into place.
So I know I've received this question a couple times. How much the heel cup in a boot, how much does that affect how your heel fits into the back of that boot? Right.
So when you first look at a pair of sheep feet, the padding's on top, and that your foot's gonna, just like any boots, you're gonna break into that. So the Dura or the XC cushion and our Dura cover, the Dura cover is a foam, and it allows for your foot to break into that foam and relieve pressure points, and then into that cushion as well. So when you look at it, some people could say, oh, that looks kind of thick, but your foot's gonna break right into it. And then if you look at the bottom, so this is the bottom of the foot frame where this ends. So it only takes up, I don't even know what that measurement is, but very, very slim to nothing, because you have the heel cup of your heel goes all the way down in the plastic.
Yeah, I know I've had some semi-custom insoles made, and they had that heel stabilizer, and it was giant. It just threw my heel all out of the heel cup of my boot. It caused more issues than it solved. But yeah, you can see how it kind of looks thick from the side, but then your heel's down in that heel cup, so it's not going to add a whole lot of volume to your boot.
Right, and it's a lot of people, that's their biggest fear, is they don't want to have their boots too tight, because that just causes a lot of problems when you're back there. So the fully loaded, the double cushion pair of sheep feet is 3/16 of an inch. So a lot of people are familiar with super feet. So that's equivalent to a super feet, is our double thickness. And then our single is 1/8 of an inch. Our foot frames are a high dense plastic, composite plastic, and it is the lightest and strongest plastic that is on the market right now for an orthotic. So we really tried to make everything as high impact absorbing and as light as possible, because no one wants to have a pair of boots that are super, super heavy when we're out there. A lot of energy can be wasted from hiking around with heavy things.
There's probably a lot of guys that have super feet or the other pretty flexible. Like that is a really stiff but lightweight support. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it has the ability to give that give. So when you come down, hit a rock or a deadfall and jump over it with all your body weight, it's not so stiff that it's just gonna hurt, or it's gonna be pushing into pressure points, because that's the point of custom. When we remake your foot, a lot of people have done orthotics that are just plain plastic, no padding. But because it's made specifically to your foot, it fits like a glove. So it's really, really comfortable. So, but our composite plastic still has some flex into it to help with absorbing shock and to disperse some of that impact force throughout the foot into the padding. But man, it sure holds a lot of weight and supports you right where you need it. So that's kind of the overview on the full-length custom orthotics. Super awesome for hunting, and as far as comfort in a boot, it's probably what I would always do. We also offer the half lengths that we have. So these ones are killer. A lot of people like these for everyday use in a shoe because they don't have the padding that goes out to the end of the toes. So we have to, most of the time you're gonna want to shape these specifically to one pair of shoes or boots and leave it in. Full lengths can be taken out and rotated between shoes, but they're different shapes. It can kind of be a hassle, a nightmare. You'll have to probably cut it down shorter. And then if you're going downhill for a long time and your toes slide forward a little bit, they can be sliding off. So we recommend you leave it in there, but it can be done. But the simplest and best thing to do is there's half lengths. So these are the same thing. It's still the exact same foot frame that we offer, your exact same heel stabilizers and cushions on the top, but it doesn't have the shaping out to the end. So super simple to just slide in your everyday shoes when you're going to work, and it's like, oh, now I gotta go to a dinner with the wife, slide them out, slide them into your next pair of shoes. And you can throw these right into hunting boots. We recommend that you leave your standard insole that comes in your hunting boot in, and then just put these right on top of it. Okay. If you do that, but with the full length sheep feet that you have, you always want to just take that insole out. Be done with it, get it out of the way, and then just get started with custom to you to make your boot a completely custom boot system for you. So super, super beneficial to just slide from shoe to shoe. That's the pros. Cons, it doesn't really have the padding that goes out to the end of the toes. Not a super big deal for like day-to-day use and wear. And then pros are just cushion, complete coverage, protection, correctiveness, injury prevention, all of that good stuff with the full length, which I would always recommend for hunting.
Is there any time, I know one of the options is no heel stabilizer. Is there a time when you would recommend that?
Yeah, so someone that has no heel stabilizer are people that have experienced hot spots on the top of their heels where it seems like some boots don't have a good enough heel cup for them, so they'll rub. Or if you don't have a really bad problem with pronating rolling in or supernating rolling out, if your gait is pretty well level or correct as you're walking, you can tell by looking at a pair of your everyday shoes and if there's incorrect wear. So if you look at the heel or the sides and underneath, and there's one spot where it's wearing on the left side, the inside or the outside really heavily, you're gonna want a heel stabilizer to help lock you in that correct position. But if your shoes and boots wear pretty consistent and even, then you might not need it. And in the full lengths in hunting boots, a lot of our hunting boots are more extreme, so they're a little tighter fit. So the hunting boots do go hand in hand with that orthotic to kind of hold it in place. So if your gait's not super off, you can gain a little bit of room by not doing it. If you hunt really, really flat country, maybe just grass, plains. But I think the benefits always having one outweigh not having one.
Gotcha.
But room would probably be the reason why you wouldn't do that. A no cushion, if they don't do that cushion, we still do our Dura cover, but we just double the thickness.
Okay.
So they're not gonna, and that is not even close to as good as the Xtreme Curl Cushion.
Oh, yeah, you can feel that huge.
Right? But we do double the thickness. So we do it's a 1/16 of an inch on top with the XC cushions. And if they don't have cushions, then we do an 1/8 of an inch of the Dura cushion, because it still does give them that padding, some padding, right? But
oh, that was one thing. You guys they can rebuild them, right?
absolutely, yeah. So if you go through a couple hunting seasons and everything's antimicrobial, sprayed, protected, but I don't think it really is possible when you hunt that hard to keep them from getting stinky or that. So if they start to break down and they're starting to get gross, we offer a refurbish is what we call it, or an Orthotic Restore. That's what we sell. And all you do is you send them back to us, and then we'll completely tear them down and put all new cushions, all new coverings back on them, and send them back to you, because this foot frame is going to last a long time.
Yeah.
That's not really the part that's going to break down. It's just these paddings, and when you're walking on them every step of the day, it's just going to happen.
Yeah. That's great.
So someone buy multiple sheep feet for different boots?
Good question.
Would they have to do the process twice, or would they
No.
just?
Yeah, so if you want to purchase multiple pair, once we have this cast, your name goes on it, and we save it for 6 months back in our storage area. So if down the road you get them and you're like, man, I never knew that these were going to be this big of a game changer, and they are, and you're like, I need another pair, then all you have to do is get a hold of you guys, reorder, and then just let us know what your last order number was, what's your name, then we'll re-pull your cast of your foot, and then we can just make them, and it speeds the process up.
Yeah.
So then you're only about 5 days.
There's one thing that when you order from us, your invoice will come in there, your order breakdown. If you can keep that in the box when you send it back to Sheep Feet, so they know what options you chose, that would be awesome too.
So one thing that a custom orthotic, a problem that a lot of people have is plantar fasciitis, and a custom orthotic is one of the best things that you can get for that. So what happens with plantar fasciitis is the plantar fascial ligament runs from the back of the heel, and it goes under the foot, right here, and then it comes up through the arches and runs to the front of the foot. That ligament can get inflamed, and the problem is it's getting a lot of micro tears in it. So a lot of people will experience pain right when they get out of bed in the morning, their first steps, or when they're off their feet for a little bit, because that ligament is tightened and it pulls it, and it has those micro tears in it. So then once you're off them for a period of time, they start to heal up, kind of like a scab. And then once you start walking again and their arch is collapsing again, it's pulling that apart. So then it's re-tearing over and over again. So custom orthotics are, if they don't want to have surgery, which can be a nightmare, custom orthotics, because they're a corrective medical device, is one of the best things you can do for it, because it gives it that support and it doesn't allow it to collapse, and then that ligament's able to heal up how it needs to heal up. And then just the realigning throughout the body to allow it to relieve pressure points from those areas. Because of that incorrect foundation, it just causes a lot of pressure on joints. When something's being pulled out of alignment, it's extra added pressure on some of these vertebrae up through the back, knees or whatever. But from the custom orthotics, getting you back realigned, it's able to release all that pressure, and your body's able to be where it needs to be. So yeah, a lot of those simple problems that some people have, whether you have a backpack on and you're going on a 10-miler in, and it's like, okay, I can go so far, then I gotta take it off. Or different pains like that can just be helped from a custom orthotic. A lot of high-end boots that are on the market right now, a lot of people will complain and say like the insole's so crummy, or the boot is just really flat and hard on the inside. But that's probably the best thing that a boot company could do. Because if you have a really extreme boot that tries to make arch built up inside the boot, or specific little, pressure reliefs up in the balls of the feet or the heel, really extreme, not everybody's foot is the same. Everybody's feet are different. So some are really wide, narrow, long. It's just crazy how different feet are in all the feet we see come through. So with them making that boot really flat on the inside, it's able to capture as many people as possible. And then when you turn to an insole, a lot of people, that just allows you to customize it even further. But to be a completely custom boot system, you would turn to a custom orthotic made by Sheep Feet. Because this is able to we're able to make this device 100% to your foot. So when you slip it in and it's now the foundation of that boot is shaped completely to your foot, then that boot does fit you perfectly. So boot companies that manufacture killer boots, they're doing it right. And if the boot, I'd say 99% of the time, if the boot doesn't fit a hunter's foot right, it's not the boot company's fault. It's just they're trying to do the best they can for you. And then it's your turn to just get it made for you because you're missing certain pieces of the puzzle.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people have seen that when they've turned to just a standard off-the-shelf insole. And they kind of take the same approach where they make their insoles very, very flexible, I guess. So there's not a lot of support. It does give you some because they build it up. I mean, it's thick right there.
Yeah.
So if it was really rigid to that shape, they would only be capturing a certain group of people that have that exact foot shape. But because it doesn't have that much support, it's able to bend and then kind of fit more people's feet.
Yeah.
But man, it's just hard because everybody's feet are different, and that's not going to support your arch and keep you aligned like a corrective orthotic will. And that's kind of the difference between those two. There's some companies out there that'll make like a custom boot to you, and it's awesome. They're really expensive. They can be upwards towards $700 plus, $1,000. We've seen them more than that. But you can get a really good boot that's on the market for $500, really, really good boot. And then you can get a pair of sheep feet for $250. And once you pair those together, you're at $750, and you've got a custom boot system. But not only that, it's corrective. When a lot of people make a custom boot, they're just getting your footprint, how your feet are shaped, and then they'll put that insole that's shaped like that in your boot. But if you're walking incorrectly, you're going to continue to walk incorrectly in that boot. That boot's not a corrected boot. But when you have a corrected custom orthotic in your boot system, then it's even better than a custom boot because you're corrected. It's a corrected device. And then when you wear it out, hard hunters go through boots in a year, 2 years. You're not paying that huge chunk of change for another pair of custom boots again. All you have to do is pull your sheep feet out and stick them right back in the next new pair of boots you have, and then you're off and running. And like we talked about, you can do the restore and get it all restored. So the $250 for a pair of custom orthotics is a great, great price if you looked at going to a podiatrist or something like that. A pair of insoles on the market run anywhere like $50, $60, and a lot of them on the boxes, they say lasts X amount of steps or up to a year. And I know we talk to so many people every day that they say, oh, well, I go through 2 pairs or 3 pairs of insole on the market a year. And it's like, okay, you just spent $150 in 1 year.
Yeah.
Let's get you into a custom orthotic so you can feel the difference. Get a completely custom boot system made specifically to you that's corrective, and then just keep using it. See the durability and use it year after year. So, yes, I mean, the sheep feet, we are hunters, and that's our number one passion. We've done it our whole life. But they are good for everything, whether from taking them day-to-day use for work. The more you can be in them, the better. Another aspect that people really love is trail running, because you're taking that pounding. I mean, you're putting your body through a beating. I think it's, with all the angles and all the turning, it's a lot worse than just going out and running on the streets. So trail running is another killer application for sheep feet. And definitely recommend you get the XC cushion with it to help absorb that impact with it. Because everybody's feet are different, some people will roll in more, they'll pronate more than others. Some people have really hard feet, and some people have really sensitive, tender feet. So something we always like to tell people is, it's kind of like if you wear glasses. Someone goes and changes their prescription, their eyes can kind of get tired or fatigued for the first little while, and they need to break into them. This is the same thing. This is a corrective device. So I'd say 95% of people don't ever have a problem breaking into these because they're accustomed to it. But some people, because they're used to rolling in so far, and then they have this support that's pushing them and keeping their foot in the correct position, their feet can kind of get fatigued. So you could feel like they're maybe aching a little bit, but it's more of a tired feeling. That's perfectly fine. That's perfectly normal. Your body's just trying to adjust to that. All you have to do is take them out of your boots or your shoes that you're wearing them in once your feet get tired. Take them out for an hour or two, and then put them back in. and then do that a few times or go on a hike or two, and you should be broken into them. We always like to caution people, if you're so stoked for a hunt, we know you are, and you're so stoked to get sheep feet, people are procrastinators, so you'll wait and then they'll get them back right before a hunt. If you're gonna go take them on like a longer, harder hunt or hike, we recommend that you keep your standard insoles in your backpack in case that happens to you.
Gotcha.
So you're not just having to take them out and be just nothing. Really uncomfortable boot on the bottom. But the best thing to do, just like getting a new pair of boots, is to throw them in your everyday shoes or boots and wear them around for a few days, start to break into them, and make sure that's not gonna happen. But that doesn't happen a lot, but it is common. It does happen.
Yeah, just like your boots, you don't want to buy your boots weekend before you go hunt. So break your boots and your insoles in.
I know this isn't always possible, but we always recommend that people, if you are going to get a new pair of boots or sheep feet, putting them in a new pair of boots. Sometimes the budgets aren't there, but if you put a brand new pair of sheep feet in an old boot that you've been wearing, that you've broken in, and it's broken in incorrectly, one side's broken down that you roll in, it can cause that custom orthotic that's in there to be not in the correct position. It's still going to give you support in the arch, but it's just not going to be functioning exactly how it's supposed to function and supposed to help you. So we always recommend getting a new pair of boots if you're going to be getting them and your boots are pretty worn out. So not a better place than to package it up here.
Yeah.
And it's always a good idea to have them if you're going to be trying on new pairs of boots, to be able to go take them and check them out in there. That's not a bad idea anyway either. Another thing, a lot of people will say that they feel like when they put them in, that they feel like the orthotics are pushing their feet outward. And all that is their body is so used to collapsing in so far and not having this stop them, so that when they do hit it, their body is trying to compensate for that and realign itself. Because after just a few hikes in them, our bodies are so smart, and without you even knowing it, you'll start to walk correctly, your body will take care of it, and then you won't be rolling in as much, and you'll be just set. So, I mean, they're not spring-loaded or anything, they're not pushing you outward, it's just holding your foot in that position, and because you're so used to dramatically collapsing inward or outward or moving in a specific direction with your foot, your body feels weird. It's like, oh, I can't do it to the full range of motion that I used to, but it's keeping you in that correct position.
Gotcha. So when you go on goHUNT.com and you order sheep feet, this is what you're going to get. So everything will be self-contained in this. If you just order the sheep feet by themselves, it'll just come in this box, and then you can do your impressions and send it back in this box with a prepaid envelope or a prepaid label. So it's all kind of fully, enclosed in that. So just to ask you to send it to sheep feet in this and not a big box if you order anything else from goHUNT.
Yeah. So once they get it and they receive this is the impression foam, and it's really, really soft. It's kind of a fun experience. People love it. Lots of people laugh when they do it. But super simple. There's a video that you guys have on the website. You just watch it. It's like a 5-minute video that shows you how to take a correct one. And you just have someone help you push down on your feet, level the back of your foot, the front of the foot, down into the foam, like 1.5 inches, and then pull it out, make sure it's deep. A lot of people will do really shallow ones, but the deeper the better. Just don't go like stand on it all the way to the bottom. And then that's what we'll do. Once we have that, then we're able to pour that with the plaster and then get this replica of your foot, so then we can make the corrections needed. So it's really simple, really clean. It's not like a dirty process or anything like that. It's just takes like a minute each side and ship it back. When you're shipped your impression kit that we talked about, there's an instruction sheet, and that instruction sheet says trace the insole of your shoe. So you'll take that insole out of your shoe, put it on a piece of paper. You can put it right on the back of that instruction sheet and trace around it with a pen or a pencil. Then ship that back to us with the impression kit. So when we are creating this, when we're cutting out the cushions and the XC cushion and the Dura covers, we will shape it specifically to that shoe or that boot that you're wanting to put it in. So ultras, I mean, it doesn't matter. There's not a pair of boots that this isn't gonna fit in. They will fit in every pair of boots
Nice, that's
that are on
awesome.
the
That's
market.
huge.
And it doesn't matter the shape.